it. Good evening. Welcome to Cause, Creating and Understanding Self-Empowerment. Hey, now, I feel like I lucked up on this. This is a brother this morning that I said in the podcast that I was talking to, and I said it was a stimulant, right? So it led to me doing a podcast. So I asked him to come on. So, I know he got to be a certain way. So I lucked up just now and caught him in the laundry room. So I want to talk to him about reentry, man. So what's your reentry was like, man?
Well, first coming home like this after doing 10 years, it was kind of hard in a way. I wasn't familiar with a lot of things, but for the reentry, it's adjusting accordingly now after being out for a while. But it's come with it after doing time. You knew there's so much things that's out here now, and you got to catch on. If you don't catch on, you won't be in the right frame of mind to know what's going on. So the best thing to do is pay attention and, pay attention to what's going on, because it'll affect you and your livelihood.
And see, that's the thing when he said, right? Because I constantly tell people this, right? Okay, sometimes, you could be in jail a while and, and you smart, but your smartness is kind of, I would say, stale. Because sometimes you become prehistoric, meaning that your ideas and stuff still correspond with the reality that when you left, right? And I could tell you some hilarious things that have happened with me since I've been out, and such as, even going shopping, the use of credit cards and stuff, whereas like, at one time I was the smartest person in my environment. Now I gotta ask everybody questions about this environment on the outside.
Yeah.
Do you have any problems with some of those things?
Yeah, as far as it's like the transition is how I can say this, it's real. Like I just recently had a situation where I'm in a car, right? And I needed some air. So I stop and get some air at the gas station, and the guy tells me he put the air in the tire first. He says $2 for one tire. And I was like, are you kidding me? It was like $2 one tire. And I was like, I'm not about to pay this, but me not understanding that things is different now. So I have to transition to what's going on now. So that was the normal price. These days, it's a normal price. And me, when I left, it was $0.25 for air.
And especially when you left and like I left, we was both financially retarded.
Yeah.
We both had money, so we didn't even care about the price of things going on, So, and now we come back to this world because I have found that we got a thing here, right? Especially when you first come, right? The brothers will come in and they'll bring food for those who don't go out, right? So a lot of times when I first came in, you know that too, because we were swapping food and stuff, right? Guys would come in, and so they'll bring food. So there's like these little brother gas stations around here. So somehow I went out one day and I said, well, I'm gonna bring some food back, and I bought 2 breasts, 2 wings, and somehow I seen some paydays I hadn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So I grabbed about 6 of them. So when I got to the register and they said $42, I was confused,
Yeah.
about it, because everything is so high, So have you experienced, like what you're saying, you experiencing this?
Yes, and I'm so used to where I was stuck at before I left, thinking that I can spend the money like I was spending before, making my family happy doing this, but now I'm seeing a decrease quickly by the prices being so high now, and I'm stuck in the same ways from 10 years ago thinking I can do this, but the income I'm getting is not nowhere near what I'm getting. So for that transition is difficult. So I have to settle down and accept my position. And I hate to accept it because I was so used to this, but things have changed now. So
I started the podcast, right, because it's kind of like organically happened with you and I in the washroom, right? Mm-hmm. So I didn't know whether it was safe to just say, what your name is, what we all call you by.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I know this is TJ, but some guys, I had one guy, he said, "Man, I come on the podcast with me, you let me put on a ski mask." So sometimes, brothers don't want their name out sometimes, and so you sometimes you get ahead of yourself without asking anything. But this is TJ, and he was like me, like I said, well known before he left and stuff. So, I mean, and it's a difference. I had to explain this, there's a thing of financial security, and then there's a thing of financial freedom, So now, we move into a world that we didn't exist in before we left, because we had financial freedom to do everything. Like I said, we was financially retarded. We did anything that we want,
Yep. Anytime, yep.
Yeah. So it's a whole different world. So what some of the, what did you feel the day that you left the prison? Because you was around me and you left a few months before me. So when you came that night, I was like, where you went at, man? I was wondering where you had went.
Hey, when I left prison, that experience is really hard to explain. Like, it was like I was so happy to see my family. It's just like, as far as hugging them, I just ain't want to stop hugging them. It was just like, that experience is just hard to explain. But I was happy to be home, and it really made me feel like tears wanted to come down my eyes, just for being free, just for being around my family. But I hold them in, not saying that a man don't cry, but I hold them in, but it was there at the forefront.
And that happened to me, and I said it like, I had a party, which was, all the way up until the day before, it was a surprise party, right? So I knew about it like 30-something hours ahead of time, right? But what I didn't know as many people was going to turn out. And I didn't know they was going to have all these particular things that they had on the lawn, just, as a marker as well as celebratory for me, right? And so I got everybody together, and because I got public speaking, so I know how to speak before people. Man, when I was starting to speak, I almost cried, and people said that, man, you look like you was gonna cry.
It's real.
But like I said, feelings don't need reasons. Reasons need feelings. So if you want to cry about some things, that's part of being a man.
Right.
So so I feel your pain on that. I understand.
Yeah. So I have to be out that place, man. They don't know what you go through back there, and I hate to even reminisce about what happened back there, but it's just doing time, being away from your family. That's the hardest part, man. You try to keep your sanity and do the time accordingly, but you always run into problems back there and situations that has nothing to do with you most of the time, but it becomes a part of it from the people you surround yourself with. But it's just something it's hard to adjust to.
And and I said that in one of my podcasts is, early on, right, when I was talking, I was at home when I made this particular podcast, and I said that, when the federal system, it's kind of like you are gamed by your state, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's like, you gotta be on something, because, if you're not on it, the other state is on it. So anything that somebody that we call a call, right? If they get into something, then you got to be on defense all the time.
Exactly.
Because you represent that state, and for those, I know this podcast might go a little wider than New Orleans, and I'm gonna tell you, man, in the federal system, New Orleans and DC is the two wildest bunches in the federal system, So, and especially as an old head, like I was y'all old head when we was in different spots, so as a result of it, you got to always try to find out what's going on with your little homies, and things. So I understand the danger.
And it's a prime example of just somebody that's a part of the car that you in so happen to steal from someone. It becomes a problem to where you have to assist him just to make sure that things go accordingly. But in the federal system, if we get the facts together that he did steal, he has to go. But some guys look at it like he stole, they on the spot and have to deal with him. Me not knowing would have happened, I have to assist him and jump in and risk my freedom, not knowing what he have done at that time. Like, and that's how I go. And if I don't assist him before anybody knows what went on, I'm the one gonna have to go to the hole or whatever, because I didn't help the homie, not even knowing what he have done.
And sometimes you got to get involved in spite of whether, you know, friendship brings favoritism. So sometimes you don't want to act a certain way with people, you know. So, but this is the thing, you know, it's like in football, you know, you can't let the clock run out, you know, because you know there's people looking at you. So you got to handle a situation a certain way, you know, and things. And like I have told a lot of people, you know, it's like, hey, I didn't train for the BOG. You know, I just evolved into it, you know, and so as a result of it, you know, I'm glad I got the respect, and a lot of the little homies did listen to me, you know, and things, because I try to always keep the peace, you know.
Right.
So
a lot of people look up to you too, Justin.
Right. So you know, I'm not trying to make this a penitentiary conversation, you know, because there's some hilarious things that have happened with me, even coming out learning, you know. I know my wife ain't gonna like me saying this, right? But let me tell you how I could be innocently ignorant to so many things, right? So at my party, everybody had on shorts but me, right? I had on jeans and a dress shirt and things, because, you know, I'm from old school, so I thought that's how it would be. So I told my wife the next day, I said, I'm going to get me some shorts, right? So we wind up going to the store, and, you know, she browsing off. So I picked out some shorts, right? When I got home, right? So I want to try some more. So I said, man, these shorts got drawers in them, right? She said, Negro, you ain't got swimming trunks. I don't even know I hadn't picked out swimming trunks. So you see, like, sometimes, you know, jail, I don't know, sometimes, you know, it's like jail will have you behind with certain things, you know. And, you know, you be educated. And I tell people this all the time, you know, it's like, you know, you can educate yourself in jail, right? But education don't give you experience, okay? Experience give you education, you know what I'm saying? So we might come out with more knowledge than some of the people that we grew up with, in terms, because we ain't got exposed to books and reading and all that, but we don't have the experience, you know? Meaning, like, sometimes, you know, like I said earlier, sometimes you think you in served 20 years when you haven't. Even if you have served 1 year, have you served 1 year, or have you did 1 day 365 times? See, because sometimes you don't get the experience, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So you know, so you got to play catch up. Like I said, when I left the street, and this kind of like, I had verses this a few times, right? When I left the street, you know, it's like, okay, I mean, I didn't pull up my sleeves and got directly involved with the business that I had. I had a transportation business, right? And I could have did well with it, okay? But I say this to say that in terms of credit and corporate accounts and bank accounts and all this here, I was ahead of more people that's in my life now than there. But I come out now, really, I'm kind of like, don't know much about banking as I did when I left. So now I got to rely upon them for answers and things, you know, and things.
Going through the same thing, yeah.
Right. And then sometimes people don't want you to be who you are. See, I'm not intimidated by telling people I've been in prison 25 years, that I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how this works. When they said, put your PIN number in, I'm like, okay. You know, it's like it's a learning experience, you know what I'm saying? Because when I left, we was just swiping it, you know. Now you're tapping it, you know. It's like, it's a lot of things. So, you know, you know, I just wanted to, you know, share some content with you. I'm glad I got this brother on, because we have did time around each other, you know, and we know a whole lot of people in common, you know. So, man.
Well, the track plenty days.
Right.
So, got a lot of knowledge from you.
Right. So, but anyway, it's been a blast, man, to be able to get this podcast off, and I mean, this just add one more to the podcast. So on that, I leave you as we came, and enjoy your day. Now I'm